So you can see, I don't know how well the camera will pick it up, crepe myrtles. Beautiful crepe myrtles. This is a good tree to have right by your house, especially where I live. And I found a paper that was put out by University of Florida on trees performance in hurricanes. Crepe myrtles did well. They're so rubbery, they just bend around, and like, even if this one did fall over, how much damage could it do? I don't know what variety this is. This was here when we moved in. It's been about 15 years ago, so it's not a big variety. This has got to be a medium-sized plant compared to the ones we'll see in the back, which are the Natchez crepe myrtles. Those are not as old, and those have gotten a lot bigger. But yeah, that's the pink crepe myrtle, and it's just starting to put on blooms. It'll have a lot more than that until we have a good storm and it blows them all off. It's always sad. So let's walk around. See, the hydrangeas are still blooming. Gotten good blooms out of those this year, well over 6 weeks. It's a new fence. So moving over here, this is actually another crepe myrtle that is the same variety. This is from some suckers that came up on the other plant, and I put that back here about 8 years ago maybe, and it was just tiny thing, and have pruned it for shape more or less. Certainly not an expert at that, but you can see that's just starting to bloom too. Isn't that nice? So moving over here, this is a Natchez variety, and trying to get right up on this so you can see the blooms. They're not going to pick up great on camera, but it's pretty well covered in these now. This is a large variety. This one will get bigger. These can get 25 to 30 feet tall. They have the red trunks as they get older. The bark will exfoliate. They're really pretty. This was brought home by the child from one of the arboretum events they had in school. It's been 10 years ago maybe, 8 to 10 years ago, however long we put the tree in. Honestly don't remember. And then this is a couple more Natchez crepe myrtles here that are just starting to bloom. It's weird, in this yard we almost have microclimates, and part of that may have had something to do with the storm. The Sally, this tree actually had lost its leaves, which they do every year. Crepe myrtles are deciduous. They lose their leaves and they come back in the spring. So it had already lost its leaves, and then after the storm it completely leafed out and tried to bud again, and then it got cold. So they all fell off. And I'll tell you, these things make a huge mess when they start dropping leaves, which I don't like leaves. I want the lawn to be very carpet-like as much as I can make it. So it does make a mess when it starts dropping leaves, and that lasts for a while. There aren't a lot of blooms on this one yet. Another 10 days I think it'll be covered. You can see some up here maybe. There's actually 3 plants in here, and these are crowded. I shouldn't have planted them like this, and I did. I kind of regret it now. I thought about taking 1 or 2 of them out, but that's another project. This is kind of interesting too, speaking of the microclimates. This is a gardenia, and this is an August Beauty. This is a variety I think called Mystery. This one needs to be pruned. It just got through blooming, so I'm going to cut it back by about 1/3, and I do that by hand. It takes longer, but it looks nicer than using shears. This one bloomed. These generally bloom at the same time, these two. There's actually one other one over there in the crepe myrtles, which you can see I've already pruned. The August Beauty and this Mystery over here generally bloom when this one at the same time, but this one was about 2 weeks behind, maybe 3 weeks behind these two this year. It's this weird little microclimate back here. These were done blooming these by the time that one started blooming, which is why it hasn't been pruned yet. So that's the crepe myrtles and the gardenias too.